It is currently 11:15 p.m. and I've had the genius idea to actually start my first YouTube video now, even though tomorrow I have to be up at like 6 a.m. So let's not waste any time. Since we're so close to 2026, we still have some time to improve our routine, be more mindful, and this video, I felt like I really wanted to do it because I've been watching a few kind of like motivational videos about like habits with winter arc, all of that, but I feel like I need something that I can actually do long term, tiny habits that don't impact a lot my life and then actually improve it somehow. And it might be challenging at first, but I know that if I keep pushing, I'm hoping that by doing all of this, I'm able to literally just be consistent and it's just something automatic because it's effortless. And the way that I've decided to split it is in three parts. So one, we're going to talk more about the body. Part two, we're going to talk more about the brain, and you'll see what I mean after. And then part three, we're going to talk about career, because I've got a few little habits that I definitely want to put into motion or bring back into my work routine. Essentially, the first habit is actually working out in the morning instead of the evening, because I work 9 to 5. So I come back home, I just do some exercise, and usually by the time it's done, it takes 1 hour away from my evening time. My whole plan for 2026 is to actually get as much time as I can during the evening. So if that means that I need to go to bed a little bit earlier, to wake up a little bit earlier, to save me even just like 1 hour of time, I will do that. In this case, it's working out in the morning. So I actually tell myself to wake up at 6 a.m. without having to go to the gym. So this is because I just wanted to build my brain to kind of get used to waking up a little bit earlier than usual. And literally what I would do at the start will actually have it done maybe like once a week, and then I wake up, go to the toilet, do whatever, and then literally go straight to bed and wake up at 7 anyways. But it just gives me that mental push. So I've started building that up slowly from like once a week to twice a week, I would say. Yes, 2-3 times a week, I'm gonna say. And then now that we're in October, I've actually started going to the gym. So I successfully, sorry. So I was successfully gone to the gym twice, and I'm actually really liking how it's going so far and how much time I'm saving for myself, and I'm loving it. So that's first habit. Then the second habit would be walking at least 20 minutes every day, because that is the equivalent of 20,000 steps. And the reason why I'm doing this is not only because I'm trying to be more just healthy with my body and more mindful, but it's also because I have PCOS, which is a condition that I'm learning to live with. And I know how hard it is to lose weight, especially maintain the weight that you lose. And after speaking to my dietitian, just actually doing this, I've noticed that I did lose some weight, which is why I don't want to break this part of the routine. So it's already something that I'm doing, but I'm just hoping that I can be more consistent with it. But yeah, so just trying to do 7,000 steps every day. And then finally, the last habit, if you're not a big drinker, then welcome to the club. This, of course, is to just drink more water. Honestly, the way that I struggle is insane. I'm not proud to say this, but I barely can drink 1.5 liters. So honestly, reaching 2 liters in one day will be like a freaking huge achievement if I can do that consistently for 7 days. But yeah, that's the last habit when it comes to the body. So now we're gonna move to the brain part. So for the brain part, what I have is I want us to get back to a hobby that we used to do when we were younger, but actually stopped once we started going to uni, or started like working and adulting essentially. And for me, in that case, would be reading. And I used to be a massive reader, especially when it comes to fiction, even though I was reading a lot more on Wattpad. I'm not gonna lie. I have a lot of books that I've read out of like the hundreds. Most of them come from Wattpad. They're not actually like traditional books, because I think at the time I either didn't have the money, or I felt like I just wasn't interested in like actually having like physical copy of a book. And I didn't mind Wattpad stories, especially because one thing about me is that I love reading comments. And it's actually, now that I realize it, because I still do it to this day when it comes to Reddit. So it's interesting that now that I'm remembering when I was 12, 13 years old and I used to read all of the books on Wattpad, I used to spend so much time literally just clicking on all of like the comment bubbles and literally going through everyone, just like sharing their thoughts or, you know, memeing, whatever. I love that shit. But now that I'm not in my Wattpad phase anymore, it would just mean reading more physical books or even just listening to audiobooks. That would be my hobby. So yeah, so depending on what you do, I would very much push you to just go back to that one hobby that you used to do as a child and you just stopped because of life. Because you would be surprised if you're like in a creative field how much creativity can give you, or even just how much freedom. Because I feel like in today's age, I've seen a lot of TikToks and a lot of also video essays on YouTube about how people don't have hobbies. I find it very hard to believe because you definitely have one, and I think you just lost it because of, you know, life, because of social media, of scrolling, doom scrolling, whatever. But you definitely do have hobbies. You just need to kind of like go back and find it. Because as a kid, I highly doubt that 24/7 you would just sit there and just not do anything. There was something that you used to do, and that was something that you used to like. So maybe you also like doing it as an adult now. So yeah, so hopefully that helps. So next habit in this case would be self-study. And I would say what makes self-study different from going back to like a hobby that you used to do as a kid is that self-study is for your future. It is something that you want to know about because it can be relevant to your career, it can be relevant to literally just your physical health or like your mental health. It's just doing some self-study. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a hard time doing it. Right now, my self-studying is completing my NCTJ, which is the National Council for the Training of Journalists. And this is a diploma that you need in the UK to actually qualify as a journalist. I personally don't want to be a journalist, but because I've done all of the modules when I was back in uni, and I'm literally short of one to getting this diploma, I will be getting the diploma because there's no way that I've done all of that to not get it. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm actually studying this module, which is all around PR, which is super interesting, by the way. So that would be my kind of like my example. But I'm also thinking if it wasn't like diploma linked, the self study that I would do related to me, for example, would be anything when it comes to like marketing. And this can come in very different ways because marketing is very creative and there are so many opinions that you can get just online that is insane. So that could even be going to like a webinar or joining like a community, marketing community, and getting all of the insights, all of any like Q&A experts, whatever. All of that is still self-study in a sense because you're learning a skill and there are things that they will mention that you didn't know about a job that you're literally doing. So that's what I mean by self-study. That's why I put it as a kind of like brain habit. And then the final one, I don't know if this is more of like a brain habit, but maybe this is very niche. I don't know. But I'm actually trying to find a way to create and document my memories, what I'm experiencing just in life in general, and basically be consistent with it. And so far, I haven't found it yet. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't found it. I'm trying something to be fair, and this is more when it comes to actually not having everything digital, but actually printing out all of my pictures. And nope, I have not done that yet. But it is an idea that I do have. Maybe having like yearly albums of essential pictures, and maybe each pictures will have like a brief description of what's happening. Because I don't know about you, but I am very forgetful, especially when it comes to like events. I can remember for life anything that's like tragic, let's say, or just like horrible, but anything that's very happy or anything that's very positive or like any achievements like that, I tend to forget them very easily. So I feel like having something physical, which is make it way better for me to go back down to memory lane if I want to retell an experience instead of like just telling it. If someone is at my house, I can literally just show them the album, like literally going back to the 90s. And that's kind of like the thing that I'm trying to find. So I don't know if that's really a habit, to be fair, but it is a research that I'm doing. And I think the habit in itself will be to actually document more. So taking more pictures when I go out, just taking more videos, which I feel like some will find annoying, but it's really good to actually, come back home and be able to look back to at what you've done throughout the day. And yes, I think that has to count as a habit. That will be just, take more pictures, take more videos, document them, and yeah, and literally create memories. And I'm sorry, but I'm literally, as you can tell, I cannot multitask. So I feel like I'm gonna come back in a bit when I have done a little bit more of my hair. I feel like we're almost there, to be fair. You know? As you can tell, I've actually finished doing my hair, and because I've noticed that it is pretty late now and I should be in bed, but I really want to finish off this video first. So let's move on to the final stage, which is all about career. And a few tips that I like to implement actually involve being within my 9 to 5, although the first, well, not tip, but the first habit that I like to implement is outside of it, but never mind, I still put it in my career because most of the things that I'm doing within this specific habit is linked to my future. So hence why. This is actually to plan on a weekly basis, to plan, do what I'm planning to do, and track my progress. That's literally it. And I've noticed that I've started doing this because I'm trying to consume less social media, especially when it comes to bedtime. Because I realized then whenever I have my phone nearby, it takes me way longer to fall asleep than when I don't have it. So what I've started doing is actually just leave it on the table, and then when I get to bed, I can either read a book or I can grab my notebook and write down any sorts of like ideas or anything that comes to mind before going to sleep. And I've done this pretty consistently lately. I try to not pressure myself when it comes to what I'm actually writing down. So I literally just let my brain do its thing. So I really want to start actually reading everything that I've done so far, if I've done it, and if I haven't done it, then why is that? The second one is to actually have more coffee chats. So I work for a B2B furniture consultancy, and we are about 58 employees, I believe now. I'm assuming all of the companies do this, but we have yearly goals personal yearly goals that we want to accomplish. And one of mine is to actually improve my communication skills. And the ways that I've done this is by either going to actually networking events and just going out there, pushing myself, do the small talk and building more on that communication. And also having more one-to-one coffee chats because I want to know what other marketers are doing, because right now I am part of a team of two, so it's just me and my manager, and I just want to get as many brains as possible because I feel like marketing is there's so much that you can do within it that I feel like everyone does it in a different way, and it's quite fascinating to hear that. So this habit would be specifically to have more coffee talks, find more people to talk with, to be able to talk with and like build relationships with. And because I've done this, to be fair, I've started this way before getting hired for this specific company, and that was when I was job hunting. And I'm not pretty sure, I know that because I've started doing this, that's how I got the job that I have now. So I want to be able to keep doing it, because if there are any future opportunities that come my way because of the relationships that I've built now, then so be it. That'd be honestly perfect. So that would be another habit that I honestly think I feel like everyone should do it. And I consider myself an introvert, but I feel like the benefits of having coffee chats and just building your network are a lot more than not doing any of them. And it's actually one of, not of my biggest regrets, but it is one of my regrets that I neglected whilst I was at uni, because I just hated the thought of just networking. And I feel like if I had done that back then, I would have gotten more opportunities in general. And then finally, the bonus kind of like habit that I like to make sure that I do, and I think that especially if you are in like an entry level role, is to be a sponge. So literally absorb everything that's around you. Any opportunities that come your way, honestly, just say yes. Do you want to help out with this event? Yes. I'm going to this networking session on like Thursday. Of course, if you're busy on that day, you can say no. But if you're not busy, then honestly, just go for it, because you never know who you might meet, and even what can happen. And this is I always say this, but if you're like in a creative space, just being surrounded by other people in a networking environment, something will just spark and help you build up on your creativity. The more I'm outside and the more I'm going to all of these events, the more ideas I have. But also be a sponge. I don't know if I'm the only one, but because I'm in a SME company, going out way to know people outside of my company to pick their brains on, but I'm actually not doing that effort within my company, which is very strange because I used to do it at the beginning and then somehow I just stopped. So I think it's because I'm taking them for granted and want to remind myself that I won't be, for sure I will have like other experiences, I'm gonna move jobs or whatever. So I need to make sure that for the time that I have with them, I need to take that literally and be able to take anything that they have, all of like the knowledge and how they run their business and how they do meetings, like literally all of these tiny things. I need to be a sponge and just absorb as much as I can, and also do the same when it comes to my manager, because I feel like I've stopped asking questions because I feel like I know everything that he knows in a sense, but I know for a fact that that's not true. So yeah, so if you've ever found yourself even now in a situation where you are working and you feel like you are kind of like coasting, you're not really like absorbing consciously, you're just on autopilot, I would say to literally reboot yourself, like have a reset, and then go back to work and just really look at like what the company does, how the people interact, how they run the business, like your seniors, how do they run the business, how does your manager work. Just keep your eyes more open and be more observant, because you won't stay, I mean, if you want, you can stay with them for the rest of your life. But if you know that you have other projects in the future, literally take advantage of the time that you have right now by absorbing as much as possible. But yes, that was my last habit. And in conclusion, I hope that this helps you to kind of be able to add tiny habits into your daily routine to improve your life. If you have any questions, if I wasn't clear on something, don't hesitate to comment, and then I will see you on my next video.